Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to carry on with our beginner series into Fusion 360. So we've kind of looked at a few different ways of creating 3D objects. So in the first one, when we did the Lego brick, we did extruding. In the second one, when we did the Coke bottle, we looked at revolving. We're going to look at something called lofting today, and we're actually going to start looking at creating a few different objects in a scene to sort of build up a scene, a context. So when you do a render, it's like a full image. Okay, so what we're going to do essentially there's a couple of items you would find in, say, a bathroom. So we're going to start with a toothpaste tube and we'll loft that, then we'll build toothbrush rather, then a few other things that you might see. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to come onto this front plane here. I'm going to create a rectangle, so you can go to create rectangle or keyboard shortcut R. So I'm going to hit R. I'm going to grab this center rectangle again. I'm going to make sure I come into the center, the origin. I'm going to come out, I want that to be 50. Hit tab, and I want that to be 2. I'm going to hit enter, and then finish sketch. So next, what we want to do is we're going to create an offset plane. So we've talked before when you create a sketch and you get these planes here. So if you go under construct, you can create loads of different kinds of planes. Now we'll use quite a few of them in this video. We're going to go on offset plane, and that's the most common one. So if you were to just click on that icon there, automatically it's the offset plane. So I'm going to click on this profile, drag it out, and what I want to do is I want to make this 170 mil away, so 170 mil. So you see we've now got this plane here. Now it's the same profile as that, but you can make it bigger. You can just drag on the corners. It's actually infinite. It happened to be that it was that small. I'm going to create a sketch on that plane, and I'm going to create a circle. So I'll up there, or create a circle, or C. I'm going to go back into the origin again. I'm going to come out and I'm going to do a 35 mil circle. And I'm going to hit finish sketch. So what I want to do is create a shape that joins those two. So I'm going to go to create. I'm going to use loft here. Now there isn't a keyboard shortcut for loft. So you get this, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab this profile and click on that profile. And you see we're starting to get this sort of toothpaste tube shape. Now where you click matters, so I'm going to just cancel that for a second. So if I go to create and loft and say I click on that profile, but then the dot in the middle, you see I get a different reaction to what I wanted, okay? So where you click does matter. So I'm clicking on OK. And this is why loft is quite useful, is that that's quite a complex shape you wouldn't really have been able to create with extruding or revolving because there's not really much symmetry to it or anything like that. So we're going to carry on in the same sort of way. So what we're going to do now is, again, we're going to do an offset plane. We'll bring it up 5 mil. Create a sketch on this plane here. Then hit C for circle. Come back into this origin and do a 20 mil circle. Finish sketch. And I'm going to loft that as well. So I'm going to do create, loft, grab that profile, and grab that profile. And you see how we're just slowly building this shape up, and I've still only got one body because it's joining it as we're doing it, but you can see down in the history here, essentially it's just a sketch, offset plane, sketch, offset plane, loft, and so on. So same again, so we're going to do another offset plane, I'm going to come off, we're going to do 11 mil this time, enter, create sketch, and this time, C for circle, I'm going to do a 20 mil. One again, and hit finish sketch. I'm going to loft those together. Now I could have extruded this one, but because I'm focusing on lofting in this video, I'm going to keep with the lofting. Hit OK. In fact, let's try and change that to 15. So if we do 15, you see that's updated that size anyway. And then let's do one more. And then we want to come this out 5 mil. Create a sketch, circle, and we will do 15 mil again. Hit finish sketch. So create, loft, grab that profile, and there we go. So we've got the basic shape of our toothpaste tube. Now all those construction planes that we've got are still there, we've just turned them off, but like with sketches, you can always just click on the eyeball to turn it off, or if you click on it and hit V on your keyboard for visibility, it'll turn them off that way as well, but you can always use them for references later. So what we're going to do now is start to add a few more details to make it again look a bit more realistic, add some materials and so on. So we're going to do the lid. So what I'm going to do is create a sketch on this surface here. I'm going to hit C for circle, come back into the origin again, and just come out to the full distance of that tube, and hit finish sketch. I'm going to grab this profile, hit E, make sure I've got both of them, just come to the side so we can see what's going on. I'm going to drag it all the way down to there, but I'm going to change it to two-sided and bring it up a little bit as well. And make sure, at the minute it's cutting, so it would remove everything, but I don't want it to cut. I'm going to go to new body. So I'm going to make this as the lid. Now at the minute, if I just turn that off, you see it's just a cylinder, nothing special to it, okay? Well, what we can do under here, if you go to mod combine, you get these options here. So it says, what do you want to do? So target body, so which one do you want to affect? I want to affect that one. Now you got a few options here. You can join, which we don't want to do here, cut, and intersect. Now we want to cut, so it says we're going to cut this one, but what do you want to use as the tool body? This one. So it gives you a preview of what's going to happen. You can see it's going to cut out using this shape. Now if I was to just leave it as it is and hit OK, keep an eye on the bodies here, it's removed the body it used as a tool to cut. So I've got what I wanted in terms of like the cut, but it's removed my body. I don't want that to happen. So if I can right click here, edit feature, and say keep tool, then hit OK, it keeps that there. So if I turn that off, you can see we've got my lid. So I'm just going to add a few more details to that. So I'll go to create. Let's go to thread and click on this inside bit here. Click on modeled, like that. And then I'm just going to fillet some edges. Remember, you can go to modify and fillet, or you can hit keyboard shortcut F. I'm going to bring that in a little bit. Let's do like 2. Okay. And let's do fillet on this corner as well. Not that much, maybe like 0.5, something like that. Bring that back so you can see how it's looking. So lid-wise, quite happy with. I'm going to turn that off for now. What I'm going to do is let's make this hollow. So I'm going to go to shell or modify and shell. So I'll shell that, drag it in a little bit. I'm probably going to go to something like 1 mil. Okay, much like with the Coke bottle, like what we did in the previous video, just made it hollow. I'm also then going to create a thread on this as well. So let's go to create a thread. Click on this and click on modeled. So it starts to look more toothpaste tubey. Couple more things to do. So at the end, normally it's like crimped and tapered. So what we're going to do is let's grab this surface, and because it's a flat surface, I click on it. If I hit E, I'll be able to extrude it out. So I'm going to drag it out. But what I'm going to make sure I do for now is just go to new body, because I'm going to edit it in a little bit. So I'm going to just drag it out. Okay. And normally it's chamfered, like tapered in a little bit. So I'm going to chamfer, grab both of these profiles and drag it in like that. And then normally, actually, you've normally got like crimping, like there's a little indent where it's like crimped close. I feel like I said the word crimping quite a lot in the past minute. Let's create a sketch on this surface. I'm going to hit P for project or create, project and P. So hit P for project just to grab this. And then I'm going to go to offset. And the whole reason I'm doing this is just so I can use it as like a reference to where I'm going to put my stuff. And then hit L for line or create and line. And just find the middle. When you go near the middle, you get that triangle to tell you that's in the middle. Create rectangle. Rectangle, so I'm going to hit R. I'm going to go to center rectangle, come to the middle, just drag out. And the whole point of doing all of that was just so I could create this rectangle. I'm going to grab this and just drag down like that. Now obviously I need to have quite a few of those, so I'm going to go to create pattern, rectangular pattern, change it to features, and I'm going to grab that extrude. Axis, I'll pick there, and this time I want it to go in both directions, so I'm going to drag it out, and then I'm going to add quite a few. And see how it looks. So let's maybe do something like that. Okay. Now we want to have that on both sides, so let's mirror that to the side. So I'm going to create, well, first of all, we're going to need to have a plane to mirror it across. So we can create a mirror in the middle of this. If I go to construct, I would create an offset plane, but if I go to a mid plane, if I click on this surface, flip it over and click on this surface, you'll see I've now got a plane right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is go to create mirror, change that to features as well. Let's grab that extrude and that pattern. And then let's grab that mirror plane, or that mid plane that we created. And then if I hit OK, see it's gone on both sides. I can turn that plane off now if I click on it and just hit V. Or again, those are eyeballs there. So I've now got those details there. Last thing for this, I'm going to join that together. So I'm going to use the combine tool, but this time I'm going to use join. And just click on both of those. And you watch here, I click OK, join them together. So quite quickly, we've managed to create a toothpaste tube. Now, in terms of like when we actually like put it together and render it with everything else in the scene, what I'm going to do is actually have the lid off. So I'm going to just take that lid right now, right click, move copy, just move it to the side, and then just flip it over like that. Just bring that up here somewhere, just so we can see what we've done. Okay, the last thing I want to do in terms of modeling is I'm just going to have it so there's like a little bit of toothpaste coming out of it. So again, I'm going to jump over to our different kinds of planes. I'm going to go to construct. I'm going to click here and go axis through a cylinder. Now this is really, really useful because if I just click on any cylinder that I've created, you can see we've got this bluey green line there. Now what this then lets me do, if I go to construction and go to plane at an angle, click on that, you'll see it'll create a plane on that, but I don't want it to be flat. If I drag it down there, type in 90, I can then draw on that surface. So I'm going to create a sketch there. And I'm just going to go create arc, 3-point arc. And I'm just going to, somewhere in the middle, sort of just create like an arc like that. So I've kind of got this arc floating in there. Again, if I go to construct, and then I'm going to go to plane along a path. So I can use that line as my path, like that. And then I'm going to create a sketch here. So all I'm going to do is let's go to create and go to here. Let's just drag out. Finish sketch. And we use one other tool to create a 3D shape, which we haven't seen yet, which is sweep. So I'll go to create and sweep. I'm going to say what profile. I'm going to choose that profile. And I'll say what path. Create that path. And you see I've now got a shape. I turn this tube off, just following that path that I created. Now what's really, really powerful I can do, if I turn my sketch back on for that, if I then decide to grab that and change the shape slightly, make it bigger, I just want to get rid of that, I can actually alter it live as I'm doing it, and Fusion will update. So say I couldn't quite figure out the exact size, and then what I might do is let's get this and drag it up a bit, just move it into position, and it updates live. Just tweaking it a little bit just to sort of make it fill out. I want to make sure I've not got any like intersection, so something like that, and then I can turn those sketches off, and then let's just fill it. So modify, fill it, or keyboard shortcut F. That surface like that. And the whole point of this was just to create something that looks like a little bit of toothpaste coming out of the tube. I'm going to give that a quick save because I've not saved yet, so let's just call that just so autosave kicks in. The last thing we're going to do is just add some materials to it. Now we've had a look at modify and appearance, but what we can also do is you can normally, if you do that, so let's click A for appearance and grab, say, something like this. It applies it to the entire material. And in some cases, you don't want that. So what I want to do is actually break this up. So what I'm going to do is let's create a sketch here. I'm going to hit P for project. I'm going to grab that surface and then offset and drag it in. Hit OK. So now what I can do is I can go to modify and split face rather than split body. I can split this face and I can grab that sketch. And now what it would let me do is I duplicate this, change the color, and change that to face rather. Start to add multiple different materials to different faces, different models. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on the other side, but actually there's one other thing I want to do, just again, make it a bit more realistic. Let's sketch. And I feel like what I want to do is just do something like that. I'm just trying to sort of give it the appearance that you kind of get on toothpaste tubes. Modify, split face. Let's grab that face. Let's grab that. And I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to give it like this light bluey sort of bluey green sort of color. Change that to face, like that. So you see it start to look quite toothpaste tubey. I'm going to do the same on the back as well. So let's just turn on those two sketches, modify, and split face. Then let's grab that tool there. And then we'll do that one more time. Modify, split face, grab that one. Let's grab that arc. Like that. Then I can turn those sketches off. So I can do exactly the same thing. Let's go to face, grab our red, grab our blue. I'll then just grab that white there, but we'll change that to just the white. And then last little bit, let's do our toothpaste. So same sort of thing. I think we'll split that up a bit actually, because normally they're like 3 colors out there. So let's create a sketch. Let's then just pivot project. And then let's come out, and then we'll offset. About 2.5. Let's say on this one what we do, minus 2.5. Finish sketch. And then modify. Let's split face again. Let's grab those, splitting tool. Let's grab that. I'm going to turn that sketch back on. In fact, let's just turn all these bodies off so we see what's going on. Modify, split face. Modify, split face. And all this is just so that we can add some different materials to everything. Modify, split face. We'll do that little dot in the middle as well. So modify, split face. Select that as well. And then let's turn that sketch off. Turn everything else on. Let's hit A. And then I feel like normally it's quite like a minty green sort of color. So let's duplicate that. Okay. Really light sort of blue. Let's duplicate that. Get more whitey. Like that. Okay, let's just come out, see what we've got. That's starting to look quite toothpastey. Just repeat that in a second. So let's grab this here as well. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. You won't see those lines like that. So if I jump over into render, you can't actually see those splits in the faces. It's just in the actual modeling workspace. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do, and then we've got like the toothpaste tube itself done, is let's just add a decal. So I'm going to give this a quick save. Let's go. Well, first of all, let's create a new component. So right click, new component. Let's call it tooth paste. And then what I'm going to do is take those bodies. Let's just drag them into there. So when we do our other models, they'll all have their own components as well. So then let's just add decals. So let's go to insert decal, and I should have some decals somewhere. There we go. Let's grab this one, bring it into position. Let's rotate it. Make it a bit bigger. I'm going to turn change faces off so it doesn't have any weird effect, because sometimes what you'll find, if you do change faces, I'd look, it probably won't have it now, but if I sort of sit down, yeah, you get some weird clipping sometimes. So I'm just going to turn change faces off, so it means it's just going to stick on that one face. And that's it. Okay. All right, so that is the first part. I'm going to go to render, check how we're looking. So that's our toothpaste done. What we're going to do is let's build up our scene. So with a toothpaste, I feel it makes sense to have a toothbrush. So we'll do like a little electric toothbrush, and then we might do like a face cream tube, and then do like a bathroom counter or like side sort of scene to go with it. So I'm just going to go back to design, give that a quick save. So we've got our component as our toothbrush. So next we're going to go at doing our toothbrush. Okay, so we've got our toothpaste in its own component. I'm just going to hide that by clicking the eyeball. Now I'm going to have a go at doing an electric toothbrush to go with it. So I'm going to create a sketch, go on this front plane here. First thing I'm going to do is create a profile to revolve like we did with the Coke bottle. So I'm going to hit L for line. And then just going to click up and do 9mm up. Zoom in a little bit. L, 7, L, come down, 3, L, come in, 1, and go to create arc and 3-point arc. I'm going to click on this line and just drag out to where I think it's going to look about right. So we've got this profile. Like we did when we did the Coke bottle, I'm going to finish sketch, create, and revolve, but we do have it up here as well. So I'll grab that profile, we'll say the axis we want to do there. So that's going to be the head of our toothbrush. Now we are right in the middle of the axis, which is what we want. So what I'm then going to do is create a sketch on that front plane. C for circle, I'm just going to draw a circle in there. I'm going to hit D for dimension to dimension that circle, and I need it to be 5mm. I'm just going to move it down a little bit, and then I want to have it from here to that edge. I want it to be 3mm. Hit enter. And I just want to make sure that it's in line, so I'm going to say U be in line with U, so it's perfectly in line where I want it to be. We're then going to create another offset plane, so we're going to finish sketch, offset plane, click on that surface, drag out, and we want that to be 60. So I'm going to do, and we can see we're in minus here, so I'm going to do minus 60. Enter, create a sketch on that plane, C for circle one more time, go into the middle, and we're going to do 10mm circle and hit finish sketch. All we'll do then is go to create and loft, grab that profile, grab that profile. And at the minute, it's set to cut, which I don't want. Let's do join. Okay, so hopefully you start to see that's like the head of our electric toothbrush. I'm going to create a sketch on this surface here. Go to offset, bring that in. I'm going to bring it in about 1 mil, maybe 2 mil, like that. Finish sketch, or you can actually just hit E to extrude and it automatically finish that sketch. Click that in, and I'm going to bring that in about 3 mil. So that's going to be the head of our brush. We're then going to do like the main handle part. So I'm going to create a sketch on this surface here. Hit E to extrude, to bring it up there, but rather than join, select new body. This is another one of those areas where most people sort of like get stuck a little bit if they're following along with videos. I'm not sure, sometimes they'll set it to join. The default is to set it to join, which a lot of the time is what you want. But when you're trying to, say if you're like designing sort of in situ and adding things up, it's a kind of a good practice to do it as new body, and then you can join things together later. You can end up unjoining things by like right-clicking and editing feature. It's just be careful, just be aware you know which one you've got. So I'm going to go to new body. So I've got this separate here. I'm going to create a circle there. See the circle and come in the middle. And we know we're in the middle because that circle's appeared there. I'm going to come out and I'm going to do 25 mil. Finish sketch. Hit E. Grab those two profiles. I'm going to bring it down 120. So that is the basic shape of our toothbrush. Now I'm just going to grab it. And actually, I realized I've joined that, which I didn't want to do. So I'm going to right click, edit, and go to new body. And if I hide this one, what I want to do is I want to join those bits together. So I can combine like that. So now I've got two bodies. But I'm going to grab both of those, right click, move and copy, and just rotate that 90 degrees. Just so it's stood upright. And just bring it up like that. So now we can start adding in some little details. We'll do like bristles, and then like a grippy texture. So let's do the bristles first. So let's come up here. I am going to create a circle. In fact, let's do an offset. Let's bring that in maybe 1.5, something like that. And then let's see if we can rectangle the pattern. Don't know if it will let us do that. No, it won't. Okay, let's offset. Now we won't let us offset an offset, so I can offset the original one again. Let's do like 2.5. Oh, minus 2.5. So it'll be 3.5. Maybe I want to be a little bit less. 3. I will do one more. Bring that in. Do it like that's 4, 5, something like that. Okay. So I'm gonna then circle and come out. Let's try something like 1.5. And I just want to make sure that's in line with that. We'll do circle again. Just draw those in. And then let's just make sure these are all in line. And then let's make sure these are all equal. Now we don't want them to be too big, so let's make that a bit smaller. Let's see, like 1. There we go, looks a bit better. And then we're going to finish sketch. Let's then hit E to extrude. I'm going to drag those up. Well, I think I did about 9. Well, yeah, something like that. I'm going to make sure I do that as a new body. And then we're going to pattern those around. So let's go to create and pattern, a circular pattern. Make sure that's set to bodies. Let's grab those bodies. Axes, I'll just grab this. We can start to add these numbers in. Okay. We've now got our bristles. We also want to kind of avoid these sharp edges, so remember modify, fillet, or keyboard shortcut F. There's no real number in mind if these are just sort of trial and error of what you think looks right. Sometimes go to like the extremes first to see how it looks, and then dial it back a little bit. It's always a good way of doing it. Okay, Let's then have a look at the handle. So what we're going to do, let's come to the front. I'm going to create a sketch on this front plane, and then I'm going to grab this fit point spline. I'm just going to sort of freehand. I'm basically going to do where I want like the rubber grips to be. I'm going to just sort of freehand it like that. I'm going to do one side because I'm going to mirror it across. I'm going to do a split body. I'm going to click on this tool here, because what that will allow me to do is if I go to press pull here, click on the surface, I can start to bring that in a bit. I might bring it in -1, hit enter. As I said, what we're going to do is we are going to mirror it over, so don't worry about doing both sides at the minute. And then let's create a tangent plane and click on this surface. And I'm just going to create a rectangle, just draw it across like that, and go to create rectangular pattern, grab that profile, drag it down, and just put those numbers up. Okay, and finish sketch. So what we're going to want to do is let's go to create and emboss. Let's say sketch profiles we're going to grab, so I'm going to just grab all of those. And it's going to say what faces, so I'm going to click on just this face. And you can see what's happening. It's essentially embossing that shape onto those surfaces. You can deboss as well, but we don't want to do that. We want to have embossing, and you can play around with the size as well. So I could make that smaller if I wanted to. So I'm going to click OK. So you see it's essentially looking like those little textured grips that you can get on your toothbrush. Let's do that on the other side. So what I'm going to do, I just realized all those bodies are going to be on those bristles there. So we will put this into its own component in a minute. So let's create a sketch and hit P for project to grab this surface. And just hit line, just so I can find the middle exactly. And it goes into a little triangle and it's exactly in the middle. And the only reason I'm doing that is so that I can go to split body, grab that, select like that. This one, I can remove it, so we don't want it anymore. So you can click on it and it'll tell you which one it is. So it's body number 7. So one thing that's important to do, never just delete. If you right click and remove instead of delete is better, because if you've referenced something previously and you delete it, suddenly the reference is gone and you're getting loads of errors down at the bottom of your timeline. So I'm going to remove. I'm also just going to combine these together. Then let's mirror it across. I'm going to go to create, mirror, grab that, and say what plane do you want to mirror it across? Click on that. I'm also going to just turn the head of the brush off so it doesn't join itself. And hit OK. So it's starting to look more toothbrush-like. A few other things we'll do. Let's hit F for fillet. Bring that down a bit. Do the same at the bottom. F for fillet. And bring it up. So really the only other thing I think we need to worry about doing is like a power switch, like an on-off switch. So let's construct and do a tangent plane as well. Click on that surface. For this, I think we'll create a sketch. We'll probably go with like a slot and go to center slot. Just click and drag out. Hit E to extrude. And just drag in. So we've got that little indent, and I want that same shape, so I'll just hit E and just drag it out. But make sure I've got that new body. And then modify and chamfer. Just drag that in just so it tapers it a little bit. Maybe a bit more. Something like that. So that's our toothbrush. I'm just going to make that its own component. So let's right click, new component, call it toothbrush. Enter. let's grab all those bodies. Okay, so I can turn that, like obviously you see that's still there. So toothbrush, got all our bristles, all our handles. So let's just add our materials to that. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's bring this in so we can see it properly. Okay, I feel like we're going to want like a nice bright white. Let's do like a plastic. Again, let's like take this, make it white bodies. Let's bring that in there. Let's do like nylon. Do this nylon white. I'm going to make it sort of like toothpastey green sort of color and drag that onto each of these bodies. So let's just zoom in and drag it onto each body. Nearly there. Okay, so we've got the bristles of our brush. Let's get like a rubber. Get like this soft rubber, bring it up. Let's change that to like a nice, bright like pinky sort of color. And then I'm going to get this white again and show to faces and grab these ones. And do the bottom as well. And then we've got to decide what color to do our button. So let's take that rubber, let's duplicate it. Let's change that to like blue maybe. Change that to bodies. Yeah, something like that. So let's see how we're looking. Yeah, it's like a very toothpaste or toothbrushy. Okay, so we've now got two items. So I said in the first two videos, so the first one we did the Lego brick, and at the end of it, I kind of showed you how to take it into like Photoshop and just sort of how to present it a little bit. And the same with the Coke bottle, we then looked at adding a bit more modeling to do with like context. We added like a glass with Coke in it and ice cubes. What we're going to do now is, again, sort of like build up a whole theme that goes with it. So I'm going to do one more thing. So essentially I'm going to do like a face cream tube to add in there. And then we're going to essentially do like a bathroom side scene and render it rather than present it via Photoshop, sort of render it all in Fusion as one full image. So I'm going to give that a quick save. And as I said, I'm going to create one more thing, which essentially I'm going to do like a face cream tube. So let's create a sketch. And this one I'm pretty much going to freehand it. I've not got measurements set exactly. Where's my camera going a bit crazy? There we go. So I'm going to create a sketch. C for circle. Something kind of like that. I'm going to hit E for that and bring it up. And now I'm going to jump over to create forms. Now I'm a big fan of forms. Some people aren't, but if you ever use like Blender or Maya, a lot of it will look kind of similar to you, so familiar to you. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab a cylinder, and because like before, what plane do you want to do it on? I'm going to say on this surface here. I'm going to find the center and just drag out like before. But you'll notice it looks quite a bit different now. So if I drag this up to sort of height that I want. So how forms work is you've got what's called faces, edges, and vertices. So if I zoom in, this big surface here is a face. These lines are all edges. And where the lines meet each other, those are called vertices. So that's how you sort of do it. Now you can add in more faces and add more faces. We don't really need it. We're going to leave it as it is. I'm going to hit OK. Now we're not going to do anything massively complex with it, but it's quite a fun way to create things. It takes, I feel like Forms has a steeper learning curve than some of the other things in Fusion because it's kind of trial and error a lot of the time, whereas obviously with like solid modeling, hard surface modeling, you can be a lot more accurate. So all you need to do, right click, go to edit form, and you get this up, and essentially now you can start to click things to edit. So I click a face, I can then sort of take it, drag it, scale it up, do all sorts with it. Same with the grab an edge, you can do the same, move it around. Same with the vertices, which is the little dots in the middle. I'm just going to undo all of that because we don't want it. So there's loads of options here. Now at the minute we've got this sort of everything, so I can move, scale, and rotate all at the same time. And selection filters, it's also set to all. You can change just vertices, which are these dots, just the edges, just the faces, or a bit of everything. What I'm going to do is double click on that edge. I'm going to turn soft modification on. So at the minute, I'm going to do it without. If I drag this in, kind of looks a little bit weird. So if I undo that, if I turn soft modification on and turn this up a little bit, what happens is it's going to affect everything and have a little bit of drop off in that. It's basically everything that's really close to it's going to be more affected and the further away it gets. So it's kind of like a gradual effect. I'm going to drag it in a little bit, something like that. I'm going to come to the front. Drag it out a little bit, like that. And then I'm going to hit OK. So we've pretty much got the shape done quite quickly. So what I'm going to do is grab that, right click, edit form. I'm going to hold Alt, or press Alt and drag it up, and it's essentially extruded and created a new face. And I'm going to keep doing what I was doing before. So I've not got soft modification on now. I'm going to sort of drag it in a bit more, hit Control, or hit Alt, sorry, and drag it up. One more. Alt, bring it up, and hit OK. That's going to be like the top crimped part of the surface. Now, obviously, it's got a gap in it, so if I go to Modify, I can go to Fill Hole, and it's rounded it off, which we don't want. So if I click to Keep Creases, I won't go too much into what these all do. I've got a few more detailed videos on forms, so if you like forms, please have a look at a few other ones because you can go very, very, very detailed into forms. I've got a few videos where I've done like Mandalorian helmet and things like that in forms. I'm going to hit OK. The only other thing I want to do is sort of like make this crease a bit more pronounced. So I'm going to double click on it, go to Modify, and go to Bevel. So it's going to essentially create some extra lines either side of it. I'm going to bring it in, make it tighter. I'm going to add 2 segments. Now I'm going to hit OK. So you see it's added in some extra lines there. I'm then going to hit Finish Form. So it's quite an easy way of creating quite a unique shape, kind of not too dissimilar to how we lofted the toothpaste tube. So we've kind of got that overall shape there. I want to add a few more little details to this. So you'll notice that this is just a surface, but it doesn't matter. For what we're doing, we don't need to thicken it. So we'll just leave that as that is. Let's go to Construct and Tangent Plane. I'm going to click on this surface. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to hit P for project to grab the middle. I'm going to do a line across the middle like that, and then go to create ellipse, come to the middle. Oh, no. Come to the middle, drag out, like that, and finish sketch. Create an emboss like we did before with the toothpaste grip. Select the face, this one, and this time we want to cut into it. Let's do like -2. Okay, so this is gonna be like a little like finger bit. Turn that sketch back on, and then go to split body, grab that body, and I'm going to use this straight line here to split this body. Like that, and then I can turn that sketch off. So now they're two separate parts. So now all I'm going to do is add a few fillets to sort of make it look a bit more realistic. So let's just hide that for now, and we'll hide this one. Come over, hit F for fillet, grab that surface. I'm also going to grab there as well, and let's try like a, that's too much, let's do like a 0.1, 2, 0.3, just like a 0.3, just to round that off. And we'll probably do the same as well. There, let's bring that back. So yeah, that's looking quite good. Let's then hide both those and bring this one in. So as F for fillet. Remembering we did 0.3. Actually, we can do all this in one go. So let's just hold Control and grab that. And hit OK. So there we've modeled quite quickly. But essentially, it's just like props to go along with our main model. So the main thing we were looking at is just the toothpaste tube originally, but we've actually managed to look at quite a few different ways of creating 3D objects. Let's just add some materials there. So let's we'll grab that one again. Let's do like a creamy sort of color. That. And then we want like a proper white there. Then we've got decal that we can add onto. So I'm going to go to Insert, Decal. And I'm trying to remember where I put it. I feel like I put it in my desktop somewhere. It should be, not be my downloads. Let's go download. There we go. Okay, that's not the one we wanted because it's not got a transparent background. Am I being blind? Is it in there? Not that I can see. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I've quickly just removed the background in Facebook in Photoshop to have my decal. Rotate that around. Bring it into position. Make it a little bit bigger. Now we're probably going to find if I turn around, I've probably got a bit of clipping. Okay, a little bit, but what we'll do is we'll just angle it to make sure it can't be seen. And I might actually turn the transparency, opacity down a little bit. On that, let's just see how we're looking. Okay, let's just play around for a second. Let's take this, see if this works, create, thicken. Let's bring it in a little bit, to like -0.1. Hit enter. So that's now created that. Let's then add in don't want to do that. There we go. Just remove that. So it's looking. Okay, that looks more like it. Right, let's just add in that decal again. So that's going to set and decal. We've got it there. Plug it in. Bring it around. Okay. Okay, so we've got all the parts. So all we're going to do now last little bit is essentially make a little scene. So I've got an idea of what I do, but I thought it's a lot of like freehand, like modeling type of thing. So everything else before, we kind of did it with exact measurements. So with the scene, I kind of think of it like a movie set where, you sort of say they've always got like the floor or the back walls, but like the image where you're taking the side where you're taking the actual photo from, so the render from, is kind of like nothing there. So we're just essentially going to do like a little, like a prop scene, basically. All right, so click on the design. I'll just create a new component and just call that base cream, enter, and just drag those in. So then we've got our three things together, right? And because I've just done that, I'm going to need to add that decal again, which is a bit annoying, but let's just grab it, bring it in, rotate around, bring it across a little bit bigger. There, okay. Right, so we've got that. So last little bit we're going to do is let's set up our scene and then we'll have a go at rendering as well. Okay, so this is my final render that I've done with my scene. So you can see that I've already jumped into render, but what I'm going to do is just close my render, show you what I've got. And if I zoom out, you see essentially I've not like modeled an entire bathroom. Essentially I've just kind of done like a movie prop set that you can see that when you zoom in, that's what you get. But if you go into design, you can even take a little more look at how it actually looks. So what I'm going to do is for the rest of building the scene, because it's nothing particularly exciting or like complicated. There's a lot of, as you can see, if I scroll through my history, basically a lot of like sketches, extruding, basically just to make quite a simple scene. So what I'll do is, if you're interested and you want to sort of like do something similar, I will put the recording of me doing this, but I'll double speed it so you can follow along. But I don't want to just narrate it because it's a bit like tedious. There's nothing super exciting with it. But if you're not going to follow along like that, then please do have a go at creating your own scene and then jump into render, zoom in, find the sort of angle you like, and then end up with something like that. Hopefully found that helpful and interesting. Got any questions? Please let me know.